How's it going? This is Blade Banter. These are some different knives that I was really interested in. So Craftsman has come out with a compression lock with basically a CME on it. So Justin over at OCD for EDC had the CME that he came out with. It's been a few years, I think now. But on his website, you can still pick up some of those for your Spyderco knives. But I thought this was interesting just for the fact that the price on some of these, even the design on the knife was actually, I feel, was very good. So we'll go through some of those. I'll actually take one of them apart because I think the liner pressure, it needs to be adjusted a little bit. There's some issues with it maybe not locking up on some of them too. So some of them you flip open and it didn't engage. So these are the different ones that you have for the Craftsman basic compression lock system. So it's on all their utility knives. So the utility knife will be able to just pop right out. Has it there. But price point on this one, so this compact one, when available, I think it's out on Amazon now, but this was $9, so $8.98 roughly. It does have a pocket clip for it, so it runs in the pocket. So it actually has a pretty good ride for what it looks like. So if you had a pair of jeans, this is going to be what it looks like in there. So it's actually a pretty nice setup for what it is, for being that mass market item, but it just really cool. So this is where you have for that one. So you have this one, the compact version. You have one with a single blade. So this one has a single blade storage. It also has a magnet in there. So as you have your other ones locked in there, they won't rattle around. So if you see, it just goes click. So it goes right in there, drops in, so it doesn't rattle around. But also what makes it kind of neat is with the release lever, it actually locks it in place. So this one, basically for the release of the blade, that comes down and actually locks this in place. Now so you're not going to have your spare blade come out. So as this closes down, it drops into a little groove. So I think that's pretty cool engineering to have that all done like that. So that way this one won't open up. So as you see, it pops open a little bit, but it's not going to open all the way because it's locked in place. So as you open it up, then you can change out your blade and get your blade available and put it right in. So that's a pretty cool, and this one also is $12.83 for this variation. But a lot of them, they have just a little bit of movement for it. So again, there's the compression lock for the Spyderco, but the CME is basically just glued on there. So you have a little bit of super glue. You have a different option that you can do for that, but it just makes it a lot easier to do a release on the knife instead of having to put your finger all the way in here and push that down. But that's where I saw it. So I reached out to Justin just to see. He didn't have that patented, so that's where it's on all these different knives. For same type of deal with it, all on the compression lock system, and then all under 20 bucks. So this is 11 or 8.98. This one's a 12.83, 12.98, and this is 14.98. The blade steel on this is like stainless steel, so it's probably pretty bad, but that's going to be what it has. But that's that knife, this knife, this one, and this one actually is a 3-blade system. So same thing with magnets, so you can pop it in. It holds onto it. Yep, holds onto it. Magnet lock on there. So overall, I mean, it's a pretty nice setup. I think for the knife, they could probably make it a little bit more premium, and it'll do well also. But this is going to be the knife side, so it does have the thumb studs, Craftsman. So it's advertising, but if this was taken off, the design itself is actually really very solid. So it's tip up or tip down, still right hand carry for it, but tip down carry, you could probably go either pocket. But that's going to be the carry system for it, wire clip, thumb stud works. But the design is really very nice. I mean, it's done well. It doesn't have anything sticking out real weird when you close it down. Everything's kind of locked in there. Blade is is even with the handle when it's closed. It's just a nice design overall. So whoever designed it for Craftsman, good job. And that where this one, there was a video I saw somebody busting it through a nail. Not going to do that, but the edge on it is a little rough, so it's not going to be the best edge. So it has a little bit of a chip already. The edge is rolled over a little bit, so it will need some finishing work. I haven't really used it much, but I just thought it was a really cool setup to be able to try it out. But this is going to be the one that also just has a little bit of play to it. So when I add a little bit more pressure to the bar, it does take it away. So I'm going to go and take this one apart, see how it works. Because if anything, that would be the one that I would kind of try out, test out. And then if Craftsman could bring out one with at least some type of steel that's not stainless, then it would probably do very well also. So D2, some other type of steel, could be like the next Walmart knife, the $10 knife. But we'll see how this works on the inside, see if I can add some pressure to it. Otherwise, if you like it, pick it up and try it out. It should do well for you, especially for the utility knife blade. I mean, if you cut cardboard, that's going to be by far the best way to do it, is just for cardboard. That's going to be better than any knife you can buy. So if you feel that your knife does better on cardboard than a utility knife, you're wrong. It's okay, but you're incorrect. So a utility knife blade will cut like butter. It'll do far better than any pocket knife you can pick up for that. So duty purpose, that's going to be the way to go. But otherwise, you have your knife, you do different things with different cutting. And so this is going to be what I'm going to check out, see how it looks on the inside, see if I can even get it apart. Sometimes they put like a lot of lock stick or thread locker on it. So we'll see even how this comes apart. So T6 is probably, yep, T6. Yeah, that's... Yeah, I don't think this is going to come apart. We'll try. Well, got the first one. Let's go all the way down the handle. Sorry, that's off video there, but just trying to get this loosened up. So that one's loosened up. Check the pivot. So the pivot's already pretty loose. Drop that out. All these screws will take out. These are some drivers I'm playing around with, so doing 3D printing on these guys. Trying to get a magnet put in there, put in a little slot on the side just to install it, because I've tried to do a pause on the print, but it just didn't do very well. It kind of, you could see the line as far as where I restarted it. I just didn't like how it looked, but this is going to be for the driver bits, 1/4 inch drive. Get all this taken apart. See what it looks like on the inside, but again, from what I see, it's a compression lock system. Compression lock's been out of patent for some time. This is probably the least expensive compression lock you could probably get. So there's that. So running on bearings, steel bearings now, so it's not ceramic, but you do have bearings in there. These thumb studs, I believe, come off, so if you want to get rid of the red pop, you can do that. But it is a compression lock system. So just for the liner, I should be able to add some pressure to it just to gain a little bit more lockup. So all I'm going to do is just bend it over a little bit. And then put it back together. So we'll go and see how that worked out, if that took it away. But that would be the main thing for it. So full liners, no weight reduction, but also $14.98 for price point. It's just like self-tapping screws into plastic. So you even have like a little bit of little swirl of plastic there from the screw. So not the highest quality, but it's running on bearings, compression lock, 15 bucks. It's hard to beat. Let's get things oiled up as well. So drop a little bit of lubricant on it. If you do open face or not. Some do open face on the show side or the scale side. Back on. So that's going to be the compression lock system. So this doesn't have the stop pin in right now, but that's how it locks up between the stop pin and the blade. So we'll just drop right in there. The stop pin is going to be up here. So that's the compression lock system. So there's other names going by, top liner lock. Even for my own knife, there's the wedge lock. I think it's more of a wedge than a compression. So that's why I went with that name. We'll put this all back together. So that has a little locating pin for that stop pin. It goes back together fairly well. Let's just put the pivot back in just to keep it in place. That stop pin's doesn't seem to be fully seated. So I'll play around with that. Yeah, just there, it just doesn't seem to be fully seated there. So that's where I don't think it was like that. So I'm just gonna push it down, see if I can get it to line up. As I'll just try and put the screw in, see if I can pull it down on itself, see if that works. If not, we'll do something else. But overall, the inside of the knife is actually pretty decent for the quality of it. So I'll see if that added pressure helped out for the system to get a little bit more lockup. Yep, so that pulled right closed. So that was able to close it right up. And we'll put the other screws back in. Before I do that, let me just check the pivot and tension, and then I'll go and see if it locked up better. Just slow rolling it over. Yeah, so that's the thing, is like it's actually not locking up, so it has to push past a little bit. And it's still not there yet. So it still has some movement to it. Not horrible, but it's still there. But that's where it's also, with the compression lock system on these knives, if you don't lock it all the way in place, sometimes it won't actually engage. So that one worked out well. Yeah, so I'll do that probably one more time, a little bit more tension to see if I can fix it to get locked up properly. But overall, it's a good product. For Craftsman, they have their warranty systems. I'm not too sure, like, I don't think they'll replace it for the blade because that's kind of a consumable section, but it's a good setup, good way to do it. If you like these, let me know if you have any comments on it. Otherwise, I'm going to put this back together. We'll take it apart again, see if I can get the liner fixed up, probably sharpen it because the edge is pretty bad, and then we'll be done with that. So let me know if you have any questions on it. But Craftsman multi-tool section, or utility knives, as well as those. So utility knife, 3-blade, single blade, and compact. Compact. They're all the different sizes. Let me know.